up guys, and welcome to my channel and for a new Outriders video. The balance patch was released just yesterday and I'm quite happy with some of the changes made to the game. It's definitely a step in the right direction, although I wouldn't have minded if they had the lock system in the game just 2 days before I decided to dismantle one of my best epic gloves on my Techno. I was so mad at that point. Anyways, the best change, especially in everyone's build, is going to be the Mage's Rage. It's not that it got nerfed, but fixed what was actually bugged. Now actually we can move away from that mod and start to use some of the other cooler mods that are in the game. But today we are here for Techno, and of course they buffed him again. Cause why not? It's Techno, right? Everybody loves him. They buffed not one, but 2 skills which are now probably super broken. And I'm sure if this is how strong as I'm showing it to be, I won't be surprised if they converted it back to what it was originally. The skill that I'm talking about is the Hastened Influence. What this skill does is that it will reduce the cooldowns of one of your skills by 1 second every time you remove a status effect or apply a status effect. This was originally 0.5 seconds, which at the time was already pretty insane. Now they changed it to 1 second. I don't know who decided this, but this made the Cold Snap probably the most powerful skill for Techno. You can literally spam it faster than anything. This skill even makes the Pyro's Convection skill look weaker. And Pyro's basically whole bottom tree is focused on cooldowns, whereas Techno only has this one skill. Not only Cold Snap, you could use any other skill that you want, like the Pain Launcher for example. My build is not optimized to make full use of the Pain Launcher, but just as an example, you can see how quickly you can get the cooldowns back. The other skill that got a buff was the Burrowing Charge. This one got a slight decrease in cooldown as well. Now instead of every 5 seconds, you can now use this skill every 3 seconds, which is also pretty good. With that, now let's get into everything I used to make this build come together. For the skills, we are using the Fixing Wave, Blighted Rounds, and our mighty Cold Snap. Fixing Wave will allow us to keep our Blighted Rounds up all the time, as well as providing us with healing. The Blighted Rounds are used to inflict Toxic. We're also using the Flame Leaper set, so this will help us to inflict the Blight Fire status as well. Cold Snap really doesn't need an explanation, so use it. Best skill in the game. For the pack tree, as I mentioned earlier, we are going down the bottom tree. The Override skill will give us more Anomaly power based on our skill Life Leech, which is good to have. And then the Hastened Influence and the Burrowing Charge are totally mandatory for this build. Now let's go into our main skill tree. Since we are only using gadgets, we go down the middle and get all the health and increased damage to frozen enemies, as well as getting the Capstone overclocked. This will give us both weapon damage as well as Anomaly power when we use our gadget skills. We don't really need the weapon damage, just the Anomaly power is needed. Get your Exposing Toxin and Exposing Frost to inflict vulnerable whenever you inflict freeze or toxic. Remember, the more status effects you inflict, the faster your cooldowns will be. With some of the remaining points, we get some more Anomaly power and resistance piercing. Here's a look at my Ascension points. Try and get all your Anomaly power bonuses first, and then you can spread out to get the other ones. Now let's have a look at the weapons that you can use. There's actually no real weapon that works best for this build. You could use anything that you like. I love using the shotguns, so I went with the Phalanx. This one I used in particular because it comes with the Armor Pierce stat. Try and get one with Armor Pierce and skill Life Leech if possible. For the mods, you can use anything that you like. Mage's Rage is totally not needed for this build, so feel free to experiment. One thing to note is the faster the firing rate of your weapon, the faster your cooldowns will be as well. Which is why I have an SMG as my secondary weapon. It will literally get your cooldowns back within 1 second. As long as you're constantly shooting with your Blighted Rounds, you will have your skill all the time. For the armor now, we are using the Flame Leaper set, and the pieces you will need are the chest, pants and the gloves. That is because they come with the mods that we require for this build, especially for the Fixing Wave. The mods are really important. On your chest piece, make sure you leave the Party Starter on. The Party Starter is good as it will increase your healing. And then remove your second mod for Ice Ice Baby. This is the mod that will kill all the enemies around the arena. Since we spam Cold Snap all the time, this is the mod that will actually deal damage to the frozen enemies all over the map. So this skill is actually the most mandatory for this build. For the third mod, I did get lucky and got no resistance against the Fortified. This mod did get a slight nerf from 100% to 65%, but it's still very useful. For the pants, you will need to leave the Roland compound for added damage to elites. Then for the second and third mod, I got both Shatter and Freezing Boost to increase my damage against frozen enemies. For the gloves, License to Heal is absolutely necessary. Without this, you will almost always run out of ammo, especially if you're going to be using the shotguns and the SMG like me. Getting 4 seconds of infinite ammo is very crucial. For the second mod, I added an Euthanizer for more damage against toxic enemies, and for the third mod, I was very lucky to get Long Winter. This is good to have as it will increase your cold snap radius to cover a very large area. Those are the 3 set pieces you will need, and as for the head and the boots, I used the Lost Creature head, which came with some of the best Anomaly power mods. Power Simulation for more AP per elite on the field, Arms and Anomaly for more AP every critical hit, and then finally Anomaly Echo for more AP every time you use your skills. It's probably now one of the best pieces for my AP builds. Definitely locking it so I don't lose it like my gloves. For the boots, you will need the Torrential Downpour ones, as this piece will come with the mod called a Master. This will refill your magazine whenever you use this skill. This, in combination with your license to heal, you will never run out of ammo, or in our case the Blighter rounds. I added an Unstoppable Force for more AP based on our resistance piercing. The Bad Medicine is not the greatest mod for this build, but it's not really bad to have. That's it for all the gear and skills you will need to get this build up and running. Of course, it's not going to be easy getting the exact items that I may have here, but try and get it as close as you can. As for how you may want to play this build, is basically start with your Blighter rounds, use your Cold Snap to freeze all the enemies and just keep on shooting. Each enemy hit with your Blighter rounds as well as your Cold Snap will reduce your cooldowns, so just keep spamming your Cold Snap to destroy all the enemies around the arena, and when all your ammo is starting to run low, you can hit that fixing wave. If your gear is close to what I have, then you can just keep spamming both the moves, fixing wave and the Cold Snap as much as you want. This build really excels at expeditions as well as tarya gratar. Bosses take just a little bit longer, but they will go down nice and easily. If you are using something like the Pain Launcher, since the Pain Launcher is an interrupt skill, and you can spam it almost indefinitely, it can even put some of the bosses like the Arbiter in a stun lock. May not work all the time, but it can be done. But of course, mobbing is super easy, and if you have weapons with some crazy mods, then it will be a whole lot easier. I was able to do really fast times in Boomtown and Camp Plans, so it's great for speedrunning as well. Hope you guys enjoyed the build. This is really an updated Cold Snap build that is even more powerful than before. I will have a lot more builds to come, hopefully for Pyromancer as well, so be sure to stay tuned. Let me know what you guys thought of this build, or the new update in general. I would love to hear from you all. I will catch you all next time.